Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and I will be talking about location tracking and its uses and abuses. First, I will talk about a brief history of location tracking, which is also known as GPS, which stands for Global Positioning System. A brief history of the GPS system and how it was invented and for what purposes it was used at first. In 1959, the Navy built the first real satellite navigation system called Transit, and what it was used before was to locate submarines away from each other. But this type of technology wasn't able to pick up locations of other submarines right away, as it was really slow in locating other submarines and took about an hour just to receive signal from the satellites. Then in 1963, around this time, Aerospace Corporation had already completed a study for the military that proposes a system of space satellites that sends signals continuously to receivers on the ground, which was proven useful to the military as it can locate vehicles that were rapidly moving across the Earth's surface or even in the air. And this time, GPS were more precise in finding the location and coordinates by measuring the transmission times of radio signals from the satellite. This was really useful for the military and put them on a huge advantage against other threats who did not have this type of technology yet. Then in 1999, there was a mobile phone manufacturer called Benafon. It released the first commercially available GPS phone, which was sold mainly in Europe. But as of now, many of us who are using smartphones already have GPS pre-built to the phone. Then in 2001, around this time, GPS gotten a lot cheaper. Companies like TomTom were selling portable GPS system to consumers. So people were using this as a GPS in their car at the time rather than using their phone as the GPS. Now I'm going to explain about how the cell phone tracking works. One of the most notable location tracking uses that most people use today is cell phone tracking with data usage. Pretty much all cell phones can be traced to its current location as long as the phone is turned on. I will go in depth on how tracking works through this image. The car is carrying some type of GPS, which is most likely a cell phone. Data is then transferred from the tower to the transmitting device, the cell phone. Then the GPS satellite picks it up from your phone. Then the data is transferred to a cloud server, and finally it goes through the internet. The original idea of using GPS location tracking was to improve the chances of saving somebody who is in an emergency situation by allowing the emergency rescuers to pinpoint their location, in which they use a different device rather than a cell phone to pinpoint their location. It's called a personal locator beacon or a satellite messenger. On a picture, it looks really different from a cell phone because mainly of its emergency usage. There are also a lot of desirable safety attributes for the use of implementation of location tracking services and GPS-enabled phones. Many carriers such as Verizon Wireless, Sprint, and Disney Mobile offer plans that allow parents to download a family locator application onto their phones and allowing them to locate up to 4 cell phones, whether or not if they are GPS equipped. By having the ability to do this, parents are more comfortable with their children leaving the house or going to a friend's house. How this works is that the software comes pre-installed into the phone. Then to find their children's location, the parent must go onto a separate and secure website to monitor their child's movement. It also continually updates every second and can be accessed as many times as the parent wants to. Another unique thing about it, it allows the parents to go back 30 days and monitor how fast their child got to a certain location and their travel time and their speed patterns. In a company, when you have employees equipped with a GPS mobile phones, it gives a supervisor access to what is currently happening at the moment, ensuring that their employees are where they are supposed to be, rather than being in a different location or doing something outside that is not work related, and are efficiently managing their time. The good thing about GPS enabled phones is that it does not require any extra hardware cost for companies. All they need is a computer to run the software and employees to carry their cell phones with them throughout the day. And because of this, companies can pull a lifetime displays of what is going in and out of the company to ensure that their operation is moving efficiently and increasing their revenue. Ever since the use of location tracking technologies, the actual uses have sometimes strayed away from its original use of what it's supposed to be used for, which is safety reasons. Now, privacy concerns are starting to become a huge issue for many people, as it is creating some kind of exchange of how much a user is willing to sacrifice their own privacy rights for some protection and convenience. There are also many groups that abuses this type of GPS tracking technology. Law enforcement are notorious for abusing this, as they can track suspect of a crime in order to find and detain suspects, when such occasions are clear instances of when it is beneficial and acceptable for the police to use GPS technology. But it's also hard to determine if a law enforcement crosses the lines of privacy rights when using the location technology for other means. There are also groups besides law enforcement who abuses this, such as family, friends, and employees, who use this to their advantage to manipulate each other. With the increase of new technology and improved GPS location, this can also affect relationships with people around you and that are close to you. Allowing each other to constantly know about a friend or boyfriend or girlfriend's whereabouts all the time is a bad thing. Although there are promising features for the use of this technology, the tracking ability also raises many questions as to how far and how much capabilities will be used and abused by police, service providers, and anyone concerned with such information about product users. It is important to explore what the future has in store for the growing wireless and tracking capabilities. So with technology rising rapidly and wirelessly, location tracking are easier and more precise. Sometimes it causes a user's fear on how much of their privacy and identity is being protected. Location tracking definitely open up many doors of opportunity for users' privacy to be compromised. The advantages and disadvantages must be taken into consideration into how much a user are willing to let their providers store and release their information. Since there isn't any formal restriction on how a service provider should handle your information, they can share your information to other parties that you have no clue of who they are. But in this day of age, it's almost impossible for people to go on without having their smartphones in their pocket or purses. And thank you for watching.